Good morning, evening, or afternoon, everybody. It's Kaghoe coming at you with another video. So today we are going to be back on our weekly number routine schedule. Obviously, for the past 3 weeks, I haven't had the time to really dive into these, as well as there hasn't been much change to really report. Just the same trends have been happening. And so I was just busy with SoD and Phase 7, and our guild has grown. Twice as many people have joined, as well as we've spun up our second raid. So I've been just playing my druid, playing my mage, getting those characters ready, and I've been really busy also covering Phase 7 news and everything to sort of help you guys out. So that's where these videos have gone. I didn't stop doing them. I didn't forget about them. A few people have been asking about them. I definitely still plan on doing these because I think it's important for people to see. But with that, we have a quick disclaimer to note that these numbers are rated, logged numbers. So if you did not do a raid and it was not logged, you do not appear on this graph, and it is the only sort of numbers that we have a chance to really show and give some kind of display of how many people are playing the game. There are tons of people that are out there leveling, just playing the game, PvPing, doing stuff that isn't raiding, and these people are forgotten. So it's very important to note that and be aware of that when we report these numbers. So I'm going to switch it right over to Cataclysm, and we're going to get right into it. So here we go. So this is the Cataclysm chart. This is all 5 years of Classic WoW. It is conveniently broken into each part. So this initial block right here is Cata. From here, is Classic 2019. Then it goes right here. This dip is where it becomes TBC. This TBC dip is then when it becomes Wrath of the Lich King. This Wrath dip all the way at the end is when it becomes Cataclysm. So Classic 2019 peaked at about 489,000, which is really cool to see, and that was in 2019 or the 2020, and I think that was around when BWL launched. And then we come over to the next one, and we have TBC, which peaked at 404,000. TBC held a more steady base of about 350,000 the entire expansion. Classic 2019 had a bit of a rocky start. Not rocky, but it didn't hit. Like, it had higher highs and lower lows, probably an average of about 300,000 players if we added all those weeks up. But TBC was short, sweet, and steady. And then we come to Wrath of the Lich King. Wrath was the most popular expansion Blizzard has ever released, so no shocker here that it has the most popular player base. So it reached 626,000 players, as well as it probably averaged between 450,000 throughout the entire time. Ulduar really brought it down towards the end of it. People were slacking, but TOGC, ICC brought it back up, and this was just ICC attrition leading up until Cata. It lasted for a really long time, and we hit the bottom here, and then when Cata came out, it peaked at 317,000, and pretty much after that week 2, week 3 peak, it went straight downhill. It stabilized at around 100k players. Right before Firelands launched, it reached an all-time low of 50,000. Then Firelands launched, and it stayed at about 120,000 the entire time. Pretty much anywhere from 100 to 120k. And these last 3 weeks, we have 123k, 123k, and then we have a dip of about 20,000 players right here to 106,000. So really interesting to see Cata on the downtrend. I will say Hour of Twilight, they have been posting a bunch of stuff about that. I'm not exactly sure when the exact date is coming out, but Dragon Soul should be coming soon. Obviously, anytime a new tier is announced, there's just a little bit of a pre-raid dip, I guess is what I would call it. It happens literally so many times on all of these graphs right before the new stuff comes out, because you don't really need the old stuff anymore, as well as there's also usually some other version of the game that is doing something else. In this case, SoD released Phase 7. So anyway, let's head over to Season of Discovery, take a look at it. So we have Phase 1 right here. This first drop-off is Phase 2. Phase 1 peaked at 496,000. As always, this is a little odd because the cap was level 25, and people like me who were hard in SoD and played so much, I had 8 characters rating here, so I counted for 8 people in this number chain here. You could literally start a character and do the raid in the same day if you were, able to play 12 hours straight and just absolutely blast. So there's something to be aware of when you look at this. So it might be a little skewed, but SoD Phase 1 was awesome, and it really captured the magic of what could be a sort of Classic Plus-esque type world. Then we come to phase 2. Now this is expected because the grind from 25 to 40 was no mere grind. That's when it started to get intense, so much so they even added an XP buff a few weeks later. But Nomergon was the shortest phase, and it only lasted 8 weeks, so by the time people actually got up to scale, they had already announced Sunken Temple level 50 was coming out, and people kind of dropped off here. As you can see, this was the last week before we went into Sunken Temple. And then phase 3, incursions were a disaster at launch. A lot of bugs, a lot of craziness with them. A lot of on the PvP server was almost unplayable if you were in the minority faction. Then we also had Sunken Temple being a 20-man raid, as well as it was very, very difficult. So Pug struggled with it as well. And so all of that just kind of bled out, and it was a 14-week phase. Phase 3 lasted the longest, and it was the worst phase of SoD, in my opinion, at least, and it dwindled down to almost 20,000 players, which is crazy. Then we got Phase 4. Phase 4 launched. This first one was just Oni, or Azurgos and Kazakh, and then it became MC. We saw MC, the heat system, everything, which really revived SoD. It brought it all the way back. Phase 4 peaked at around 88,000 players. Then we went to Phase 5 with BWL, which held about that peak. BWL actually held the most consistent of in-game rating at about between 88,000 and 80k. Then we get to Phase 6, and that's when AQ took over. AQ had a very rocky launch, and it was pretty much rocky from there on out. It stayed at about 60,000 players all the way until we got Naxxramas. This week right here was right before Naxxramas launched, so this is that pre-raid dip, and it was at about 57,000 players. Then we go up, it went to 67,000, so returned again, and now it has jumped to 72,000. All I can say about SoD is my guild has doubled in population. We were at 150 people before Phase 7 launched. We're up to 306 players. Tons of new players are joining. I see tons of players. So a lot of people are coming back. A lot of people are out there grinding, trying to get geared to get into Naxxramas, and it's been really awesome to see a lot of health. My channel with the videos is at an all-time high. The only other time it has been like this was the very beginning launch of Season of Discovery with all the rune videos and showing people how to get all of those in a chronological order. So that's where I'm at with SoD. I'm hopeful for SoD. I think SoD is on the rise, and I would love for SoD to get over that 100k barrier. It'd be really cool to see. Next, we have the Era population. Era, for the past 3 weeks, has held strong. They have pretty much 10 to 11,000 players every single week. This was the only dip we saw, and that's because it was the Christmas New Year's break, and that's about it. Pretty much Era's been going strong. 10k Era is a specific type of game for a specific type of person. I am not that kind of person to enjoy Era, but people always love it. So anyway, let's go to Anniversary. So Anniversary has maintained that steady growth. So the past 3 weeks we see from right here is about 5k, then we see another 5k, and this past week was 10k. So really awesome to see Anniversary continue to grow. I'm curious to see where this growth stops and where the peak goes. Is it going to break that 100k mark? I always think 100k is a really good mark for any of the version of the game to break, and it is cool to see that people aren't getting bored of just blasting MC, and you're seeing about 88,000 players right now. So I'm very curious to see what next week's numbers hold, specifically for SoD as well as Anniversary, because it is really nice to see both of those continue to grow. And you know, when we compare it all the way back here, SoD or Anniversary is holding somewhere between 30 and 40% of where it's at. This 441 number, 241,000 number is where we are currently at. And this Anniversary, this dip right here, or this is the holiday dip that we're going to encounter in a bit, so we'll probably ignore that in our comparison and just continue going. But Anniversary is holding somewhere between 30 and 40%, which is kind of impressive. The chart here starts to get skewed because you have the holidays and then you have COVID. We're looking at COVID around March 15th. That's when my state shut down, at least. So once we're at March 15th, you see that big COVID numbers and COVID spike, which I don't expect Anniversary to ever compare with that. However, you know, there also was only that. There only was Classic 2019. There wasn't just specifically, SoD era as well as Cata. And hardcore, I wish I could quantify hardcore, but I have no data to really quantify it and show that. So it's just really cool to see Classic WoW and everyone playing Classic WoW and doing Classic WoW things. I'm all for Classic WoW success as a Classic WoW content creator, regardless of if I'm playing Anniversary, if I'm playing SoD, if I'm playing Cataclysm, whatever I'm playing. It is always good to see Classic be successful, because Classic success takes us into a Classic Plus, which is my personal end game and what I would love to see the most out of it. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. If you're a number on any of these graphs, if you're playing multiple characters, I would love to hear that from you, how many you count for, because for me, I personally am 2 SoD right now. I have an Anniversary character at max level as well as a Kaghoe one, but I am not really playing them at this time. So anyway, I truly hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say in the comments down below. So until next time, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Hey you. Yes you. Are you still there? Well, I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this entire video and making it to the end here. If you enjoyed this video, definitely check out the other videos about World of Warcraft listed in these playlists down below. And thank you again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.